We're going to start today's practice with just a little bit of grounding. This might be best served to you to lay flat on your back, or maybe you feel best starting seated, whatever works best for you. Most of us are on our back, so that's a good place to be. We're going to open with a present moment affirmation. Today, I gently and kindly resist the temptation to get carried away by thoughts, especially negative ones, and I choose to return my attention to the present moment. Today, I gently and kindly resist the temptation to get carried away by thoughts, especially negative ones, and I choose to return my attention to the present moment. One of the easiest ways to stay present within our practice, staying in the present moment, is to invite your attention to your breath. Allow your breath to become fuller with each natural inhale, maybe letting the belly rise up towards the ceiling. Letting the belly button fall down towards the earth on each natural exhale. And just start to let the body take up a little bit more space. So if you want to stay on your mat, that's fine, but just widen the legs a little bit wider than perhaps a traditional rest. And maybe even reach the arms up and over the head, letting them sit on the outer corners of the mat. And just let your body become a nice big X on the earth. It might feel nice to let the back of the head stay grounded, but let the nose gently sweep a little bit from right to left. And start to add some movement into your feet. Maybe you're pointing and flexing the toes. Maybe you're opening and closing the hands. Still allowing a little bit of space for those shoulder blades. So I'm going to push the back of the head into the earth and just kind of lift my shoulder blades up. Maybe even soften my elbows so that my arms come to more of a cactus shape. And find another full breath. Perfect. Taking your time, we're going to let those feet stay wide, but walk the feet up the mat so that your knees are bent up towards the ceiling. Arms are in cactus if they aren't already there. Shoulder blades are relaxed out from underneath of you. And then just let the knees fall in and touch one another in the middle of the mat. So for some of us, we're going to feel a nice big stretch along the outer edges of the hips or the kneecaps. For others, you're not going to be feeling a whole lot here, but this is called constructive breath. It's a great way to relax those low back muscles. A great way to feel grounded through the upper back and shoulders, softening the muscles around the eyes, the cheek. Depending on what you've already done today, this might be the grounding that your body's been asking for all day long. Let the soles of the feet now start to walk towards one another. Bring your right hand to rest on your heart. Your left hand's going to wrap over and across your belly, kind of hugging your lower torso, and let your knees fall out and open to the sides. So the complete opposite shape of what you had just been in. Knees were towards one another. Now they're falling wide, round ankle. Let that inhale breath bring rise to the belly. And exhale breath, drop that belly back down towards the earth. Next natural inhale, we'll bring hands to the outer edges of those knees or thighs. Let them stand back up to the ceiling and then just hug the right knee in towards your chest. Once you have that right knee in nice and tight, go ahead and point and flex the toes, give the ankle some movement, and then switch the grip to the back of the thigh, hamstring stretch as that foot reaches for the ceiling. Again, just as you did before, rolling the ankle here, pointing and flexing the toes. And then with the hands on the back of that thigh, start to hug the right knee down towards the body, but your right knee is going to go off towards the right edge of your mat. It might make sense to reach your right hand towards the inner sole of that right foot to give yourself kind of a half happy baby. This is a really big stretch for hamstrings, hips, even gets a little bit of benefit for the low back. Beautiful. If that feels like it's okay to you, start to bring that foot back up high towards the sky. And then knee comes into the chest and then back down to earth. Let's switch sides. Left knee is going to move its way in towards your body. Hands to the front of the shin. Point and flex the toes. Roll around that ankle. Grip switches to the back of the thigh. Foot elevates nice and high. Roll the ankle. Point and flex the toes. Hands on the back of the thigh. Go ahead and hug that knee down one more time. But remember, this time it's angling towards that left edge of the mat. You might reach your left hand for the inner sole of your foot. Maybe even bring the right hand down to push that right hip bone back towards the earth. Half happy baby. Big stretch to open the hips. And a little love and attention to that hamstring as your hands switch back, releasing leg up. And then just hug it back down one more time into the heart. Place both feet down onto the ground and then reach arms high up overhead. Let your feet extend long down your mat. So you've got arms high, legs long, and you look like standing Tadasana or mountain pose. So your feet are close together. Arms are stretched nice and long above the head. And I'm just kind of moving, pointing, and flexing my feet because that feels really nice for my shins and calves. If that feels good to you, you can continue to add a little bit of movement in your feet. And then just let your right foot slide up the mat. Right knee is going to bend. Arms are going to soften to a cactus shape again as your right knee falls out to the side and you look like you're doing tree pose, but you are resting here on the floor. So tree pose is that knee is pulled slowly out to the side. Left foot is elevated towards the sky. Left toes, rather, towards the sky. Beautiful. When you feel ready, you reach your right hand down to help that right knee stand up. And then just kind of welcome the right knee over and across your body. You're going to add a little twist here. You're just kind of letting the belly rotate, knee rotate. Maybe your arm stretch to T. Maybe you even step this right foot all the way over. You can let the leg go long, especially if that feels good to your IT band. For those of us who struggle with some sciatic nerve issues, sometimes this can feel really therapeutic for that as well. Beautiful. Just take your time. Right knee comes back towards center, and then we just switch everything to the other side. The right leg goes long. Left foot slides up the mat. Left knee is bent, and then take it out for that same tree pose. Arms are probably in cactus. You can let your head sway. You can point and flex your toes on that long leg. Just a gentle hip flexor, opener again. Inner thighs, outer hips. Left hand reaches down, stand that left knee up, and then take it over and across the body. You can keep the left knee bent and take just a little reclined twist here. Or you can step that left foot out long, left leg long. So you kind of look like a pair of scissors, maybe. Two long legs. If space allows, of course. Those in studio, you got plenty of space. So stretch out wherever you want to be. Beautiful. Take your time, start to unwind from that, and then just bring both knees into your chest. We're going to add some movement to get up towards hands and knees. So you might be rocking forward and back on your spine, or just kind of pushing into the earth on the right or left side. And then we're just going to skip our feet for now and head to tabletop. So when you look for that tabletop position, put your wrists right underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. So I'm going to switch it up tonight, face a different way. Belly drops down towards the earth. Let the chin and tail lift towards the sky. And then exhale, take that angry cat. So you know what to do. Cat-cow is pretty simple. Belly's dropping towards the earth on your inhale, and your back is rounding on your exhale. One more. Next, angry cat. Sit those hips back onto your heels, and then walk the hands to the right edge of your mat. Sit towards that left hip. Take a big stretch all down that left side body. Really release the belly, full down towards the tops of the thighs. Let it have space. Inhale, start to bring hands back to center, and then we'll send it over to the other side, just as you did before, sitting to the right hip, hand stretching to the left. Long side body. Perfect. Hands start to move back to center. Tabletop is going to call us again back to that tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Right leg extends long. We're going to offer the left hand straight forward. So your gaze is slightly out in front of you. Think about 6 or 8 inches out in front of that hand that's on the ground, maybe even a foot out in front, and make this a nice long extension. As you exhale, you might test balance today and see if you can bring elbow and knee to make connection underneath the body, and then just let it extend out nice and long again. One more at your own pace, and then just keep yourself back in that bird dog, pointing through fingers, pointing through toes. Hand comes down to earth. Bring this back leg down. Toes touch the mat. Push through that back heel. So you can take just a nice easy calf stretch here, or you can choose to curl toes under on both feet and lift that left knee up off the ground, making for more extension, more movement through the back sides of the legs. Take one more full breath. Beautiful. Knees work their way back to earth, and then switch sides. Right hand lifts. Left toes point behind. Gaze 6 or 8 inches out in front of you. Keep the neck nice and extended. Look for length for your spine. Add the crunching motion when you're ready. Elbows and knees talking to one another underneath the body. Keep fluid with that breath. Choosing to either exhale out through the nose, or if the mouth feels like a better answer for you today, that's all right too. Maybe one more at your own pace, and then just go back to that point. Bird dog. Hand comes down, looks for the earth. Toes come down on that back leg. And then just as you did before, you can stay right here and just focus on pushing that heel back behind you. Or you can curl toes under, lift hips, take yourself into a little half downward facing dog. Beautiful. Knees return to ground. And then just take a nice big inhale, reach the hands up, come up onto your high knees. And then exhale, bring these hands to your heart. Try that again. Big reach. Full release. Lace the fingers together and then just press these palms straight forward. Maybe your chin even falls a little bit towards your chest. Inhale to pull the hands in close, and then let them reach around back. Maybe they lace. Maybe they just kind of hang out here on your low back. But then think about almost like a triangle shape right here in your chest. See if you can lift that triangle up towards the ceiling, maybe even lifting chin. Perfect. Head comes back towards center. Release those arms. Let them take a big cartwheel. Lift up and over those shoulders. Hands come to ground. About shoulder distance apart. Toes curl under. First full down dog. Got this practice together. And then just walk that dog. Push the hips back towards the wall behind you. Find some release for the backside body. Those hamstrings need some focus. Small steps with the feet. Start walking forward to find your hands. And then just hang in forward fold. Let your head hang down towards the earth. Look for a half lift when you feel ready. A long spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the hands up to the sky. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, hands reach tall. Exhale, fold. Take your time. Half sun salutation here. Coming up with a half lift. Looking back for the earth. And then plant the feet big, full lift, hands reach. Cactus shape. Here we go. One more at your own pace of breath. Kind of a moving meditation here. Just flowing with that breath, finding the movement. Doesn't have to be real big. Inhale, breath is going to bring you back up when you're ready. Cactus it out. And then just bring those arms straight in front of the face. As you exhale, bend the knees, sweep the elbows back. And then inhale, come back up to standing. We're going to go one more, that same motion. Exhale, elbows go back, kind of pinch just a little bit in your upper shoulders, upper back rather. And then inhale, tap back up. Perfect. Take your time, cartwheel these hands down. We're going to let the right foot step back towards the back of the mat. And then drop that right knee all the way down into the earth. If you want to use blocks, this is where they could go, of course. Inhaling the hands up nice and tall. And then just let your shoulders settle. Come into a shape that works for you today. Your inhale breath is going to be tall. Exhale breath is going to be a letter T. So just let the arms come out to the side. Inhale breath is going to be tall. And then exhale breath, you're going to turn your chest towards that front knee and go to a T again. Inhale tall. Back to that same first T. Inhale tall, add the twisting T this time. Chest turns towards that front knee. Back up nice and tall. Cartwheel this down to the earth and then let the toes come back and look for your face. So I'm going to walk my hands back just a little bit back to the mat. Bring those front toes just so that they kind of angle towards you. Big stretch. Perfect. From here, take this front foot down. And then my right knee that's on the ground, I'm going to turn my right foot so it faces kind of behind me on the opposite direction of the mat there. And then just bring myself up. So something that kind of looks like warrior two. So you've got knee on the ground, toes pointed behind, left foot still forward just where we left it, and the arms reach big. Gaze over that front knee. Just kind of look forward on this left knee. Take the foot that direction. There you go. See, there you go. Now we're good. Yeah. Yeah. Now we're good. Now we're good. Now we're good. Yeah. Okay. Arms and T. So you should feel kind of like you're doing a warrior two. At home, do you feel weird and funny too? Make sure you get that foot tucked behind you. All right. Front hand flip. Lean away from this front knee. Now does it feel like warrior two? Yeah, kind of. All right. Back to that kneeling version. Elbow down, up and over. Yep, so just like your side angle. You got it. A little more concentration on side body when we're underneath. Beautiful. Bring this back up. Now you're going to bring both hands forward towards this front foot. Swing that back knee out from underneath of you. And then just kind of move to either child's pose, or if your knees feel like they've had enough, lift up and put yourself in downward facing dog. Now the trick will be if I can explain all of that on the other side. Maybe a little Now you know what you're doing now, so it'll be easier. The second side's always easier. All right. When you feel ready, let's just take our time, small steps or a large leap. Start bringing those feet up towards your hands. Look for a half lift just to really open up the backside of those legs again. Exhale, fold. Look for a full inhale when the hands reach up towards the sky. Maybe cactus shape. Elbows in front of your face. And then exhale, do that little tension in the upper back. Bend the knees for a chair. Inhale that back up. We're going to do it again. So we'll sink and tuck these elbows nice and close to the side body. Inhale back up. And then you just get to fold down towards the floor. This time your left foot is going to step back. The left knee is going on the ground. And your hands are going to come up tall. So if you remember, which is not really your job to remember, my job to remember. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, this is a classic T. Inhale, reach the arms up. Now you turn your chest towards that front knee. Take the other T. Beautiful twist. Inhale up. Classic T. Inhale up. And then we add a twisted T. Sounds like a cocktail. Inhale, hands up. Exhale down. Twisted T. I think that is a cocktail. Start to lean back onto this back knee. Toes flip up towards your face. Take that same stretch we had last time, just kind of putting lots of attention into the front leg there. Beautiful. Now we'll start to lay this front foot back down. The foot behind you is going to turn, place itself behind you, and then you're up on the other side. Take a moment. See what that looks like. Warrior two. Hand that's closest to this front knee, so your right hand's going to flip. Lean away. Back to something that resembles warrior two. Elbow drops. Hand lifts up and over. So really focus on keeping this chest turned to the side. If you had to design it all on your t-shirt, you'd like it to be shining straight out into the middle of your space. Arms go back. Look for your warrior two shape. Gaze forward over that right hand. Perfect. And then we'll start to move all of this back down. You can do kind of walking the knees back underneath of you if you'd like into a child's pose. Or if you want to get up off the knees, if this floor is kind of hurting your knees, walk up and put yourself into downward facing dog. Good work. One more fluid breath in that down dog. Really put attention into your hamstrings, your calves, lifting those glutes up and back towards that wall behind you. Get lots of extension. Spread your fingers really wide so you've got nice big puppy paws to hold on to the earth. And then take small steps with your feet. When you're ready, back up here towards your hands. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the hands nice and tall. Cactus shape. Bring the hands in and just place them at the heart. Close the eyes. Take standing Tadasana or mountain pose. Perhaps your big toes come to touch. Your shoulders drop down away from your ears. You look for length in your spine. And you collect your breath. All right, beautiful work. When you feel ready, place those hands at your heart. And we're going to step back first with our right foot just into a crescent lunge. So crescent lunge, sometimes your feet need to get a little bit wider. I'm going to switch this way so I can see everybody. Sometimes your feet need to get a little bit wider, but ideally the back heel is up off the ground. Everybody looks good. Your hips are squared towards the front. I'm going to lift these arms up. So this is almost the same thing we did here when that back knee was on the ground. So if that ever becomes too much, all you got to do is just drop that knee down. As you exhale, go to that same classic T motion we took. Hold for 2 breaths. Next natural inhale, bring the hands up. And then take them back to that same classic T. 2 breaths. Beautiful. Hands are going to come into your heart. Weight's going to shift forward towards this front foot, and we're just going to take a big step all the way up to the front of your mat. Half sun salutation, so match it with your breath. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, folds down. Inhale, comes up halfway. Exhale, folds down. Inhale, reaches high to the sky. Exhale, either to cactus or just hands to heart, your choice. And then just let it settle back in. Take that same Tadasana, 2 breaths here. Long spine, ground through the feet. Close the eyes, reset your intention. Reset your mindset to a place of positivity. Gently and kindly resisting the temptation to get carried away by negative thoughts. Left foot steps back this time, looking for balance as we go into that same crescent lunge. It's big. So we always check this front knee, make sure it's talking with that ankle, either in a 90-degree shape or slightly back behind. We also want this knee to be in line with about our second toe. We don't want it swinging off either direction on the mat. Let those arms come up. And then your classic T again. Hold for 2 breaths. The more length and intention you put through that back heel, the more stretch you're going to get across that back leg. Inhale, lift up. You can even soften that knee a little bit, and then exhale, sit right back down into it. Yeah. Just watch this front knee. We don't want it way out over the ankle. Everybody looks pretty good there, but it is a test of balance. A little bit of shoulder strength too as we stay here in that T shape. Inhale, arms back up. Let them slide down and find your heart shifting weight towards your front foot. Big step. Hold down when you feel ready. Exhale and fold. Inhale, find your half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the hands all the way back up, just as you've done so many times before. Cactus it out when you're ready. And then just let it settle into your heart. Closing those eyes. All right, speaking to a little bit of balance today, we're going to blink open the eyes, separate the feet about hip distance, and then I want you to take your right toes and just turn them slightly outward. So my left toes are still head on. My right toes take about a 45. When you feel ready, your inhale breath is going to kind of sweep you to make that X shape we made on the floor earlier, but you're going to lift your left leg up off the earth. I'm going to flex the toes on that left leg. One more silly breath here. Feels like kind of an awkward balance shape. Exhale, let that foot come down. Step your feet wide. Toes turn out. Cactus arms, knees bend. All right, from this shape, as you inhale, you're going to stand legs tall and reach towards the right wall. So it's kind of a funky shape, yep. And then exhale, sit right back down. So you're going to stand tall, reach towards the left wall. Should feel really good on this side wall. Exhale, back down. Do it one more time each direction. Hit that thoracic spine right in the middle of the upper back when you're reaching. Back down into the goddess. Cactus arms. And just absorb this shape. right, next natural inhale, stand up tall. And then just heel toe back underneath. Perfect. This time, about hip distance apart feet. Left toes turn slightly out. Right toes are still head on. Your inhale breath puts weight onto that opposite leg. Lift and make yourself into that star shape for balance again. So these toes can always just tap here on that right foot. They don't have to be lifted completely up off the ground if that feels too big today. Get a little more extension through your arms. Beautiful. Let your feet come back down. Let them go wide again. Look for that same squat shape here with the arms and cactus. See if this time when you sit here in Goddess, you can have enough balance in the feet to close the eyes. Inhale, breath, stand, reach right. Exhale, breath, sink. Inhale, breath, stand, reach left. Exhale, breath, sink. One more time, each direction. Back into that Goddess. 2 breaths. Next natural inhale. Legs start to straighten, arms come down. Heel toe the feet back underneath. When the feet get back into the middle of your mat, I want you to just take a couple big shoulder rolls. So inhale, maybe lift those shoulders toward your ears, and then just exhale them down. Maybe 1 or 2 more of those. Sometimes it even feels good to do 1 shoulder at a time. Perfect. And then just settle back into your version of Tadasana, that mountain pose. Hands maybe are down by hips, or maybe you've got them at your heart. Close the eyes and set the intention back to those positive thoughts, allowing our mindset to keep us right here in this space. Easy breath. All right, taking one more variation of that same star shape. So we're going to take our right toes, let them turn slightly outward. We're going to go to this right side first. As you inhale and take this star shape, you might kind of watch. We're going to do arms up, but then my right arm is going to see if it can come down and touch the left knee. Now you can stay in that shape, or you can just kind of like pop it and then just go right back out and kind of let your arms be a diagonal this time. So options to do the exact same star, or you can drop the opposite arm, do a couple of these, work with balance and a little bit of core, or you can just work with balance like this. So your arms are in kind of a diagonal today instead of the full star. So 3 options. If you do choose to add kind of that crunching motion, exhale breath when knee and elbow look. Inhale breath when you find length. It has a little superhero feel to it. I feel like this would be perfect in a kids yoga class. All right, finish that off. Let the foot come down. Feet are going to go wide, but instead of going into Goddess, you're just going to take a big forward fold. So maybe your hands come down and touch the mat. Your feet might be as wide as the edges of the mat, or you can even step slightly off the edges of the mat if that feels okay to you. Hands might be on the earth. They might be in ragdoll. They might be grabbing for your big toes or your ankles or your shins. You can sway or stay still. All right, friends. Hands drop back. Half lift, get the breath moving. Back up to standing when you're ready. Maybe bring these feet back underneath of you. And then just as you did before, left toes take a slight turn out, right foot stays here. Remember, you can kind of take that balance shape and just kind of hold your diagonals, or you can take lifted arm and knee and let those two talk. Similar to what we were doing in that bird dog shape we took on the floor. The big shape. Those of you I can see on screen, though, are handling it like a champ. All right, maybe that's even or so. Take it wide, last forward fold. I'm just gonna really let my arms. And just wave it back and forth. Any kind of tension you got hiding in your low back, let's get rid of that now. The head hang heavy. Now for most of you, I can see you're about midway down your mat, so we're about in the upper corner. Just start to walk the feet back underneath of you and take maybe a couple little steps so that you walk forward towards the front of your mat. Find a half lift here. And then we're going to place our hands onto the mat so that both feet can walk straight back. And we're going to lower through plank down to find your belly. Some of our calming, kind of bringing us back to a grounding state today is going to happen on our belly. So bring your arms up and create a little bit of a pillow, reverse Savasana. Forehead rests on the top of those arms. So as much as you can for the next couple poses, I'd like for you to try to keep your head connected to something, whether it's the mat or your arms. Keep that forehead kind of grounding into the surface. You're going to see me lift my head if you look at me, but that's just because my voice gets really muffled if I keep my head all the way down. But then both your knees, lift your feet up towards the sky, and then just let your heels kind of wave back and forth. Hopefully this feels pretty good to your low back as a way to give it some space. And then just let those feet slowly fall down towards earth. My hands are going to come down. Let's do right arm first. So keep your left elbow, left arm functioning like a pillow. Bend your right knee and reach your right hand back. Now you might grab onto your pants if you can't quite reach your foot. Or if the hand does grab on the top of the foot, feel free to let that kind of hug down the heel towards your glute. You can add a little more pressure here because we're relaxing the head down into the earth. You can really let that quad have some attention. For you, those of you I can see in the space today, your knees look great. Ideally, we just want to avoid having this right foot way out to the side. So if the only way we can grab that right foot is to have our foot kind of wonky way out here to the side, don't grab it. Just let that foot be bent. But you guys all look great here today. And then when you're ready, we're just going to release that right foot. Just take your time, let it start to fall down towards the mat, and then switch sides. Right arm serves as a pillow, left knee bends, or whatever side you were on last time, just flip-flop it. Start to reach back with opposite hands. Remember, maybe it makes connection, maybe it doesn't. I see some are even just grabbing at the heel or the ankle, or even just if you have a pant leg, you can reach for that. Your forehead can be glued to the arm, or you might even turn your head so that your cheek is on your arm. So again, you might have a nice big grab at that foot, hugging the heel towards the foot. It might be looser in between. Sometimes it just feels nice to lay on your belly. As this shape starts to feel complete, just take your time to release the hand. I'm going to walk both hands back up to form that same pillow. Bend both knees so that my heels are up towards the sky, and then just kind of rock back and forth again. I'm going to walk you through one more stretch here on our belly. It can be a little bit complicated if you haven't done it before, but I think you guys can handle it. Both knees are bent right now. I want you to take your right leg, let your right leg go really long down the mat so that like your toenails are touching the ground, your heel is up towards the sky. Rest your head either on the mat or just let it hover for a moment. We're going to stretch our right arm straight out to the side, similar to that classic T we've been taking, but you might put your palm down onto the floor so that arm stretches out to the side, palm on the floor. Left hand comes near the heart, so it's just on the other side, kind of like a cobra hand. And then you're going to roll slowly towards this right arm. Your left leg's going to kind of come over the top, and your left foot may press into the earth. Now, for some of you, that's too big of a stretch for that shoulder, and you decide just to kind of roll out of that and don't go quite as far. For others, it's going to feel really nice to kind of roll into that shoulder socket, letting the right hand stay positioned. Good. You guys look really nice. You figured it out. All right, perfect. Start to unwind like you're going to roll back onto your tummy, onto your belly. Hands come back in. This time, right hand goes like a cobra hand right next to the side of your body near the armpit. Left arm stretches out in that classic T. You're going to bend your right knee. Left leg is long down the mat. And then you just kind of start to roll over into that left shoulder where your right foot comes down and catches you on the earth. Yep, you got it. Now, obviously, depending on where that left arm is how much stretch you're going to get out of this shape. If the left arm is straight out to the side, you might be feeling it more intense than if you let it fall a little closer down by the hip. But for those of you I can see in the space and at home, this looks pretty good. All right, slowly rolling out of that, put yourself back onto your belly. Both hands coming into something that looks like cobra, right on either sides of the heart. And just give yourself a cobra lift. Push the pelvis into the ground, top to the feet, let the belly resonate down towards the earth. And then exhale, lower. 2 more just like that. Match it with your breath. Let the shoulders roll down from your ears. Let it relax back down. Remembering that cobra is just about a little lift of the shoulders. Not a lot of weight in the hands. It's not a full up dog. Exhale back down. Take the hands and walk them even with the breastbone. Curl the toes under. You're pushing up onto your knees by keeping your elbows really close to your body. And then just bring big toes to find one another. Separate your knees as wide as the mat and sit back into a wide-kneed child pose. You can make a little tower of fists underneath your forehead to catch your head. You can let your head drop into the earth. Hands can be extended out in front, or you might walk the hands back by your hips. Just let those hips be really heavy towards your heels. Let your low back have space. Let your breath be fluid and slow and stay in that shape just for a couple more breaths. Perfect. Next natural inhale slowly starts to walk us up to something that looks like tabletop. Lifting those hips up off your heels, bring your knees back towards the central part of the mat and take a couple cat-cows. Belly dropping to the earth on your inhale breath, rounded spine on your exhale breath. Belly down on the inhale, back rounding on the exhale. Last one. And then just bring yourself back to a neutral spine. You can walk your feet off towards one side of your mat and just kind of start to bring hips down, feet down to the earth. And then just kind of swing your legs out front. If you have blocks handy, maybe reach for those. It might be nice to have those as we get closer to Savasana. If you don't have blocks, that's fine too. Toes are up towards the sky. Big inhale breath. Reach the hands up and then just fold right down over top of your lap. Just a nice forward fold. Hands might reach towards the feet, the ankles, the shins, the knees. Just knowing that the goal is always about length for your spine, and less about what you can reach for and yank and grab for. You're just trying to get long through that spine. Good work. Perfect. Inhale, breath brings us up nice and tall. Maybe the hands come up or just your chest. And then start to bend your knees. We're going to head back to our backs. So take your time as you head back to that reclined position. I'm turning just so that I can be seen a little easier. Knees are into chest. Just rock around here on the earth. Hug the left knee in towards the body and extend the right foot up towards the sky. Point and flex ankles on both feet. Give yourself a little bit more space there. And then just keep that right foot up in the air as your left foot comes down and touches the mat. Your left knee is still bent. Bring this right foot over that's in the sky and lay it on top of that left knee. Maybe you stay right here and just kind of sweep side to side, or maybe you invite the left knee, left foot up off the ground, hugging it a little closer. Taking that pigeon shape on your back. Of course, if full traditional pigeon is more your style and you want to ignore what I'm saying right now and kind of flip yourself over and go into a full shape for pigeon, you can have that. We're just going to stay here for a couple breaths. Really letting our back absorb the energy beneath us. Kindly and gently reminding our thoughts to stay positive. Staying in a space of love, kindness. Perfect. And then when you're ready, come out of that shape. Just take your time. I'm going to take my left foot back down. Hug the right knee into my chest. And then just lift the left foot up to the sky. Push through that left heel. Point and flex. Left foot comes down towards the mat, right foot comes down towards the mat as the left knee bends, and you take that same pigeon on your back shape here on the other side. Rotating a little bit from side to side. Those who did traditional pigeons, hopefully you just found your own graceful way to switch sides. Doing pigeon on the other side. Just take your time. Maybe you lift the right foot up off the ground if you haven't already done so. Kind of hug it into the chest. Maybe one arm goes through the opening you've created, right in through that hole, and then the other arm wraps around the back of the thigh. Sometimes that feels really nice. Other times it's too big. If it feels too big, just kind of let your hands come down and touch on the backs of either one of your thighs. Just rock a little bit. But as much as you can let your head relax on the earth, let your shoulders feel grounded, spine feel supported. Perfect. And then we'll just start to transition just like you've done before, bringing feet easy, slowly down. Legs will extend long down the mat. Maybe arms even reach high above the head, making just a nice long front body stretch. Now, if you prefer this long body stretch to have a little bit more lift, you can bend your knees. You can reach for one of the blocks that you might have taken with you down to the earth and slide that block underneath your back. And then just go back to that same long body stretch. Sometimes giving yourself a little lift right at the midsection of the body can open up those hip flexors a little more, add a little bit more release to the back. But of course, if you don't have a block handy, that's all right. And you can stay there as long as you'd like. You can start to soften the arms, of course, if your shoulders feel kind of tense. You can bend the knees, taking yourself to any version of bent knees that feels good to you. If you recall from the earliest parts of today's practice, we took constructive rest. That was where we allowed the knees to kind of fall in towards one another. If that felt good, you can take that as an opportunity to really release the low back. Another option might be to walk the soles of the feet to touch one another and let the knees fall out and open to the side. If you've still got that block under your back, you can leave it there, or you can lift to remove it and maybe position blocks right along the outer edges of the thighs or the calves to catch for that down angle. But we're definitely to the part of the practice where you can stop listening to me. You can start moving or not moving in ways that feel best to your own body. As you start to close out this practice, finding whatever place of rest you'd like to have for your final moments, your final savasana. That chance to revisit our opening intention. That chance to let your back, your head, your shoulders, the muscles of your face, everything start to feel softer and more at ease. And revisit this affirmation to keep us right here in this present moment. Today, I gently and kindly resist the temptation to get carried away by thoughts, especially negative ones. And I choose to return my attention to the present moment. I choose to return my attention to the present moment. Setting aside the space that you have right now to be no other place than right here. Watching as your inhale breath brings in a sense of peace, and your exhale breath leaves space for you to release. Release the negativity, the anxieties, physical pain, or the frustrations brought about in the body. Let them go. Staying here in the present moment, kindly and gently, bringing your thoughts back here. One easy breath at a time. starting to become aware of your breath, allowing each natural inhale to come easy back in. Let yourself have a little bit of movement in your fingers, your toes. Maybe your head sways a little side to side, or you take whatever movement makes most sense for your physical body. The knees might come into the chest. You might rock around a little bit, or even roll yourself to your right hand side. A side lying savasana might feel like a nice welcomed way to get your heart back centered and bring you back to reality, slowly pressing into the earth, bringing the hands up into the chest, taking your time, letting your palms find one another, the thumbs perhaps even coming in to press at the heart. It might feel good to let your head move around, your neck to come down towards your chest, or just to find a nice, full, easy breath. I greatly appreciate you making this time for yourself tonight, giving yourself that kind, gentle reminder throughout today's practice to be present, to be mindful of where you are. Thank you again for coming and moving alongside me and all of our yogis, virtually and in person. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. Thank you guys so much.